the Attorney General designate, is a law professor. When approved, he is going to be the chief enforcer of our laws. When he appeared before the committee and was asked about the legality of this aura, he justified it. He justified the unconstitutional establishment and putting together of people who go about harassing former government officials. We believe that the establishment of that oral committee violates and flies in the face of our constitution. And so one would have expected that a law professor in the person of Dr. Ayeni would have condemned it. But rather, he justified it. Now his justification is now putting the work of the police CID, IOCO, and special prosecutor, and constitutionally established bodies out of business. It is concerning, and we want the people of Ghana to know that no serious country will entertain anything such as this. And so if you are a former government official and you're invited by this so-called aura, our advice to you from the minority is to boycott any invitation from the aura team. We are not going to be part of it because we believe that there are constitutionally established bodies that can investigate any so-called misdeeds of the government. What are they doing? What they are doing is to go about disturbing people, entering homes, taking vehicles, seizing vehicles, and more or less taking over lands from people who have genuinely purchased land.
Well, there you have it. Let's discuss this further. Ben and I are here to steer the conversations because the minority in Parliament calling on former government officials to boycott any engagements with the Operation Recover or Loot, that is the oral team. And they're arguing that the operations are unconstitutional and a violation of Ghana's legal framework. We'll discuss this in a minute. Benjamin, you want to bring in our guest?
Well, we have John Darko, who's a member of parliament for Swami, that famous constituency, of course, in the Ashanti region. And we also have Martin Kpebu, he's a legal practitioner. Both of them joined the conversation. But before I come into the studio, let me just check. Mr. Kpebu, can you hear me, sir? All right. Mr. Kpebu will join us shortly. Congratulations, first of all. Big shoes you are filling. Former majority leader, and now you are stepping into those shoes. How do you feel?
Well, thank you, and greetings to your viewers. Yes, of course, big shoes. Indeed, I've been reminded of this so many times. I remember during the inauguration, anywhere I pass, once my name is mentioned as an SMP of Swami, they will ask me, oh, wow, are you sure you can fill the shoes? And so I get that a lot. He has played his parts. I'm talking about the former majority leader and former MP of Swami. He did a good job. I always say, from a grateful constituency, we thank him. A grateful nation, we thank you. We thank him. He dedicated 28 years of his life to us as a parliamentarian, and so I am grateful. I always say that I don't think that I'll be judged immediately by the standards of HMS because he was there for 28 years. Right. I'm just less than 2 weeks old in the job. But
you're already stirring controversies.
Well,
but you'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, little by little, as they say, apoko apoko. I think that is about service. If the focus is served, you don't care about the repercussions. We intend to serve our community and serve it well. We have a party to also, as it were, protect, and we'll do everything in our power to protect our party, protect our people, and ensure that we get the best out of everything. Okay. So yes, I thank Honorable Seche Mensah for his service to the nation. I will do my best to represent the constituency he left very well.
We wish you all the best in that endeavor. But let's come to the meat of the matter, the substance of the conversation. Oral.
Yes.
Operation Recover or Loot.
Yes.
I just want to start with an interesting question. What do you understand by this whole concept of oral and what is being done? What is your understanding of it?
Well, so my understanding is that the president has set up a group to collect information. That is what I understand that to mean. But for me, it's not even so much about what I understand. It's about the legal basis for setting up that body in the first place. The president, at the time he set up this body, who was he? When did he set this up, sweetie? He set this up
when he was president-elect.
When he was president-elect. Now, we are a country of laws. We work within the Constitution and our acts of Parliament and all the subsidiary legislation. Whoever, maybe Martin and the rest can point out to me, which of our laws give a president-elect the power to set up committees to investigate people? Which of our laws? Let
me turn that to you. Is there any law barring a president-elect from setting up a committee?
There's no law allowing any...
Is there a law barring a president-elect?
So if you are not expressly given, it means that you are expressly excluded.
Was this
because
committee...
you see...
No, I want us to take it step by step.
Yes.
You say there's no law giving power to
yes.
a president-elect to do this. I was asking you, is there any law giving... taking away or barring a president-elect from doing that?
That's what I'm saying.
You've not been able to answer me.
No, that's what I answered, that in our constitutional and our interpretation of our laws, okay, the expressio unius principle, when the law has not expressly given you an authority, it means that that authority has been expressly taken away from you. So the Constitution and the Transition Act, at least the two most important laws regarding the transition period, has not given a president-elect any powers. He doesn't have any power at all. When you are president-elect, you are just like you and I. No power to set up...
At any rate, we can say it is a gray area. We cannot state categorically that he doesn't have any such powers because, like I said, it may not state categorically that he can do this. It doesn't state categorically that he can't do it. In fact, if you look at President-elect Trump, have you noted some of the actions he's taken and certain moves that have been made in the interim? It's on the 20th that he's going to be inaugurated.
Exactly.
But certain things have been done already. They may not have been done as the POTUS, President of the United States, but they are activities that have been kickstarted. Once he takes over, they continue from there.
You see?
So I do not know how you understand, and that is why I started with how you understood oral. Yes. But let's look at it.
But let me
legally speaking. No, let me add this. Let me add this, and then you can go ahead. Legally speaking, this was not a committee that was set up in terms of state channels or governmental channels because his party was not in government. Okay, it was not drawing on the public purse. You do remember that they made mention of the fact that they were not even going to be paid
that's what they've said.
Anything.
That's what they've said.
Do you know anything to the contrary?
They are traveling to Kumasi, I'm told today. We should ask them who is sponsoring all the travel.
Do you have any evidence to the contrary?
But we should ask them.
No,
who is sponsoring
I'm asking
that?
you. You are making proposals. Do you have any evidence to the contrary? Maybe that will show that they were using, money from the state.
It will come out soon. It will come out soon.
Okay.
The point I'm making.
So how do you respond to this angle? They are not drawing from the public purse. Okay. There was no executive instrument or anything setting up anything. All they said was, we're going to collect information. Members of the party and some other people known to be anti-graft campaigners, among others. We are setting up this group. Let them look at these matters. Let the public come through with information. Practically, that is everything they are doing. Okay. They are not prosecuting. Okay, they are not investigating.
Okay, fine. So what has happened is that, have you seen them going to people's homes, lands? At least recently there was a video. They had gone to somebody who was building. They had gone to them to stop them from building because, in their view, that land belongs to a state. Have you seen that?
Is it the NIB situation?
Okujeto, Ablakwa, and they went to somebody's home, somebody's land. They stopped the person from building. You haven't seen that?
I haven't.
Okay, so these people are out there, okay, without any authority, without any power, harassing people, going to homes of people, asking them to bring out their car, going to places, stopping people from building because in their view they have the power. Look, today, like I told you.
No, hold there for me.
Yes.
I want us to do this slowly because today we spoke to Daniel Parker. I'm sure you know him. He's a member of your party, regional secretary, I believe. Greater Accra. And he made an allegation about some people who had gone to, I think, some land, sweetie, belonging to him or something of the sort. And I asked him for details and whether there was any correlation with oral. In other words, is it the oral team, you know for sure, that did this? You know for sure, the allegation you're making, that is the oral team that did this.
That is them moving around on people's land. You have your own video showing they've gone onto people's land, stopping them from building because the land belongs to government.
If I may.
Now, what authority do they have to do that? If you are set up, to just collect information, okay, what business do you have going to these places?
You mentioned that they're harassing people, but if you say they were set up to find information or collect information, what they're doing, going to the ground to see for themselves what's happening and asking people to stop so that they can ascertain the legality of the ownership of these properties. Is that not collection? But even before you come in, I took the time to find some provisions supporting the committee and provisions challenging the committee's legitimacy, right? And you started from I'm not a student of law like Ben, but this is what is in the Constitution. Article 35, Clause 8 states that the state shall, quote, take steps to eradicate corrupt practices and abuse of power. 1. Article 36, Clause 1 obliges the states to ensure the efficient management of the economy and public resources. 3. Establishment of investigative bodies. This article Article 278 empowers the President to appoint a commission of inquiry into matters of public interest, right? Now, what oral seeks to do, is it not in line with gathering information so that where we have mismanagement of public funds, where we have looting of state properties, where we have misappropriation of funds, are these not provisions that support a team to collect information so that we can...
And I'm happy you said you are not a student of law. And look, if you listen to my first point, it will tell you that all these things, okay, don't apply.
They don't apply.
Because at the time he set up the committee, he wasn't the president. He didn't have the power to set up the committee. If the president had set up this committee after 7th January, our argument would have been different.
He had been declared, like Ben said, grey area. He had been declared as president-elect of the Republic.
Yes,
and he didn't employ any legislative or executive instrument. Simply saying that these are the people I've handpicked to go out there, ask people to bring us information. I'm just asking for clarity.
John Darko, you're still not, at least from where I sit, able to convince me that there was any illegality in this.
Well, I mean, you can choose to understand it or not, but the point is very clear.
No, I'm asking based on the face of the law.
Yes,
it's the law you purport to use, and I'm asking on the face of the law. Convince me that this is illegal.
A president-elect. You see, the provisions you read is for a president to do that. A president-elect doesn't have any power to do that. You were mentioning the POTUS. Look, he's making nominations and all of that. They can only come into effect after
my final question to you before we bring in Martin Kpebu.
January.
Was he constituting this committee as president? He was not constituting the committee.
He was not. So what is the legal basis? You see, that's the point. There has to be a legal basis. You have to have the power as a president.
Would it have been better?
A committee.
Would it have been better, okay, if he had said, I am president-elect, when I do take over the reins of government, I want us to delve further into corruption. So I am selecting a group of people, some from my party, others ordinary people.
All of them from my party. State it clearly. I mean,
I cannot corroborate that these are not card bearing. Okay. Have you seen Martin Kpebu showing his NPP card? You don't want to go there. But let's say he did that and say, okay, so these are people, some ordinary citizens, some members of my party, and I am putting them together to start gathering information. Would that have been better?
No. You see, you only...
Because technically there's no difference.
No, you only act and set up a valid and effective committee and legal committee when you are the president. Okay? Now, the people could have started working after 17 December and probably our stance would have been different.
Okay.
But the people started acting when we were in the transition period.
All right.
And they were moving into homes of people.
Right.
And they were moving. And you saw. You said you didn't see and you haven't seen anything. You saw them. They had gone to somebody's land. They had stopped them. What authority do they have?
And Sweetie was asking whether that wasn't part of information gathering. But let's bring in Martin Kpebu. Mr. Kpebu, good morning.
Is that Kaku? Yes, sir.
I hope you're well, sir.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Long time no see.
Straight question to you. Is oral legal?
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely. Oral is very legal. But it's okay. Yesterday I was on a top story with lawyer Darko, and I'll repeat the same thing. You see, the questions the MPP are asking, they are good for us in a democracy. They help the discourse. Because I keep repeating that Plato in the book Republic says that Socrates says an unexamined life is not worth living. An unexamined life is not worth living. So, I mean, fast forward, in political discourse, we say that citizens should ask questions. Citizens should ask leaders questions. So it's fine. Mr. Kapo, if we go straight to the Whistleblowers Act, you will find a very tall list of persons that crimes and other impropriety can be reported to. That list is not exhaustive. So I'm surprised, but not too surprised. It's normal, politicians will have to try to, push their position. So it's okay. We're saying that, look, within Act 720, the Whistleblowers Act, you will see that when you see a crime, you are allowed to report to your MP. Let me even start with the other persons who are not even in public service. When you look at it, it says that you can report to your head of family or any elder. It's a couple, let's repeat. Report when you see a crime. Our law says that you can blow the whistle with your head of family or any principal elder in your family. And apart from that, you can also do it with the head of your institution or MD of your company. They didn't say only public company. So I want to start with those ones because yesterday, when I tried reading out the list on top story, there wasn't enough time for us to read all. So let me go straight to the ones apart from Iyoko, police, Attorney General, ministers. I want you to see how private sector and ordinary citizens are involved in law enforcement. Ordinary citizens, private people, you don't have to be a public officer. So Section 3 of the Act 720, the Whistleblowers Act, it says that a person to whom or institution to which disclosure of impropriety may be made. So subsection 1. Disclosure of impropriety, and please, it includes criminal offenses, may be made to any one or more of the following. A, an employer of the whistleblower. So, Mr. Kapo, you are allowed to inform Mr. Kwesi Chum and other people. The employer, they didn't say it must be only public office. Then let me jump. So you find police officer, attorney general. I don't want to read all. I want to go straight to the private sector people. K, you can report the crime or any other impropriety you've seen to a chief. Then L, the head or an elder of the family of the whistleblower. The head of family, the head or an elder of the family of the whistleblower. So that is it. You see, this ties in with Article 125 of the Constitution, which says that justice emanates from the people. And so people are allowed to participate in the justice system. So it's okay that Mr. Darko is raising questions, but we are also answering. If you have time, or I refer to you to Article 125. You can read it. You see that's why citizens are allowed to be jurors and then assessors, etc. So please, helping in fighting crime or helping to bring about justice in our society is not limited to Iyoko, the police, and OSP. No. If that's what Mr. Darko is pushing, no, that's not it. Now let's go back to our history. You also find that when President Kufuor was in office, he set up the Office of Accountability. The Office of Accountability. It's Lawyer Darko saying that at that time, the police didn't exist. At that time, the police were not functioning when President Kufuor set up the Office of Accountability, and we all lauded him that was an effort for to fight corruption, because he set up that Office of Accountability at the presidency and told citizens to come and report acts of corruption and other abuse of office. Where was Lawyer Darko when President Kufuor set up the Office of Accountability? Where was the whole of the MPP? Didn't we all applaud President Kufuor for setting up the Office of Accountability? Iyoko was present. Iyoko was in existence when the Office of Accountability was set up. The police service was in existence when the Office of Accountability was set up, right? And then the other Shraj, etc. So it's okay. Lawyer Darko is asking the questions and we are answering. And so now we are answering. You can see that this at least a reasonable answer to him.
Right. Martin, okay. Are you inviting people? Do you have constitutional backing to invite people? And are you, in fact, inviting people to bring you information? Are you, interviewing people? Are you doing that?
Okay, let's separate them. Mm-hmm. Yes, there is an invitation to the public that if you want to blow the whistle, come. And that is what I've read a lot to you. So yes. You can invite.
But are you taking the initiative to actually reach out to people and say, come because we think you might have information or we need to ask for clarity on something? Are you doing that? Because yesterday in the press conference, you did say that you should boycott those invitations. So I want to clarify if you're actually inviting people and if you have constitutional backing to do that.
Yeah, so let's go over this. No, the invitation they are talking about is when you invite suspects. You see, so they are talking about, let's say, if you invite Afenyo Markin that he should come before the oral committee to be asked questions.
Exactly. Are you doing that?
That's ridiculous. We will not do that. Afenyo Markin knows that I'm a lawyer. I mean, come on, I'm a lawyer. So why would I do such a thing? That's not the kind of invitation it is. So the one you are asking, but your question, your question was asking about, are we inviting citizens to bring information? That one, yes. That's the one I read a lot to you, that the president set up the committee and said, listen, what was the basis of it? People were inundating him with complaints of crimes, etc. So he said, I'm setting up the committee so that present them to the committee. So that one, the law allows it. I've read to you that, sweetie, you are allowed to go and inform your head of family or an elder in your family, not even the head alone. Elders in your family, if you see a crime, then they can help take the matter up. So when the president set up the committee, he has done nothing illegal. It's allowed. Okujeto is an MP. And we are saying that list is not exhaustive. So we can all be part of it. Your head of family can be part of it. The chief of your village can be part of it. The chief of your town can be part of it. The chief of your city can be part of it. So that is not illegal. The one that will be illegal is if, sweetie, you come and give me a complaint that you've seen Mr. Benjamin Akapo in a car costing $2 million. And Mr. Akapo was a public officer, maybe he was a minister, or he did big government contracts, and your suspicion is that the contracts were bloated. Where the illegality will come in is that when we invite Mr. Akapo that appear before the oral committee, At this stage, we don't have that power.
Right.
So we are not doing that one.
Okay, hold for me. Before we come back into the studio, when you do go out to these places, like we saw in the video that was just on your screen, exactly what do you do at these places? Are you asking people to stop working? Are you evicting people from places that you think they don't have, you know, the right to occupy those properties? What exactly do you do when you go out there? And also, where do you get your backing to do that?
Good. So now, when people bring you a complaint, okay, or give you information, we are compiling a report to send to the president and the attorney general. So one way, validation, validation, validation. If people tell you ABC, some of it, you would have to go on the ground and validate the claims so that you know what you are writing about. If you don't visit, you don't know. You just say, oh, A reported this, B reported that. You just put them together and then forward to the president and the attorney general. No. So that's a validation exercise.
Okay.
Looking at some of the things that have been, what do you call it? The claims and the petitions that have been presented.
Okay.
So it's within because we are gathering the evidence and the information. So at least with that visit, we have pictures. We can put the pictures into the report.
Yeah.
Then the president will see that a picture is worth 1,000 words, respectfully.
But Martin, just quickly, we want to maximize the use of time. This validation, would it wade into the territory of investigation?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last word. We'll enter the territory of...
You used validation, and I'm saying this validation, would it wade into the territory of investigation?
Investigation, Martin.
Will this validation wade into the territory of investigation? That's what I'm asking.
Yes. No. We are not investigating. So we went there to look. We went there to see for ourselves and to take the pictures of the site so that we can put in the report. That's not an investigation properly so-called. It's to make sure that, yes, it's true. Some people have built on the land. It's true that government property is being vandalized on the land, etc. So that it means that we've checked. Because you wouldn't want to write about stuff that you don't know about. If somebody says, can you imagine, the petition is saying they vandalized government property, and you can see them in the picture. If we hadn't gone there, Mr. Akaku, would you have seen what was happening?
Okay, so Mr. Kpebu, thank you.
It's okay, you see.
Thank you.
Like I said, we are answering. We are answering, but it's very, very legal. Lawyer Darko knows it. But you know, it's politics too, so he has to be saying.
No.
Okay, so hold for me, Mr. Kpebu. You've heard what Martin has said, that in the end, they are not investigating. You started by mentioning Iyoko OSP. He referred you to former President Kufuor and what was done then. I don't know whether you were following the political space at the time. That was actually a reminder for me. Yeah. But how do you respond to Martin before we move on to
our first of all, and we must always start from this. I hold the view that a president doesn't have the power to set up any committee. When he referred to President Kufuor's Office of Accountability, he was the president at the time. We need to always make that distinction. But coming to his validation and not investigation properly so-called, you see how they are struggling with what they want to do there. If you want to determine ownership of a land, where do you do that? Is it not the Lands Commission? You want to go to the Lands Commission to determine whether a land belongs to the Republic and that it had been sold or is being given free of charge to somebody. When you go to the Lands Commission, you get a history of every land. Now, you go to people's homes, you go to people's lands, and with all these people following you, you think that the people of Ghana should sit back and fold their arms and not call this harassment because somebody says that, in his view, the land you have belongs to the government. Then you bring all these people there under the guise of validation. What are they validating? What are they validating? What authority do they have to investigate and validate the ownership of lands in this country?
It's interesting on the back of what you say, because even with the Lands Commission, and I am privy to the fact that there are so many instances, many cases that are in court, many cases where there are even claims, whether superior claims over which person owns land, who has title, and what belongs to government, which has been claimed by individuals, still pending. We can leave that and maybe question validity.
No, so it tells you that what they are doing, that is not how you determine ownership of a land, whether the land belongs to the state or it belongs to the individual. So don't go onto somebody's land and go and harass the person under the guise of...
Keep using that word.
What was the harassment that was brought to
you think it's okay? You think it's okay if these people walk into your home and tell you that we are coming to validate whether the land belongs to you or not?
I mean, this is also where...
It's state land.
How do you know it's state land?
So that's what we're going to check.
What right do they have? What happened to our state institutions? You see, we need to be very careful. Now, it seems that everybody is supporting that. Let's continue to do this. Bastardize our institutions. Today, you think that it's against officials of MPPs, but it's okay. Governance will continue. Things will change. We'll see how the people who are praising this will change their tone tomorrow. We need to be very careful as a country. We are building a country. We are not building political parties. So if what they are doing is wrong, we need to call it out. You think that when people walk into your home, okay, and demand to see the papers of your land, it will not amount to intimidation. Public officials. Imagine.
This is where sometimes I get confused, because members of your party, for example, have been very quick to go to court, right? And there are some matters that if you feel aggrieved in, for example, you could say, well, this is trespass to my land. And I feel they have no basis. You see, on the back of what you were saying, so go to court.
Yes,
if you feel they were trespassing on your land, go to court and seek a remedy from the courts.
Great. But let me respond to that. And that is fair. And we've told our people, if anybody comes to disturb you, go to court. But it doesn't also stop us from calling this so-called committee what it is. That is an unconstitutional, illegal body set up to harass people.
Okay. So just a quick follow-up. You mentioned that they would be impeding the work of Yoko, the OSP, among others. They say they are just gathering information. In fact, the last I checked,
the police the last I checked, what it takes to investigate corruption and corruption-related issues in the country.
I spoke to the Deputy AG, Alfred Tiayabwa, just a few days ago. In fact, a number of the cases that we felt they hadn't been able to prosecute. Do you know where he laid part of the blame? In fact, a chunk of the blame?
No,
police prosecutors. No, hold for me.
Your investigation.
Police prosecutors.
Okay.
And there was even talk about the fact that maybe we need the Office of the Attorney General to have its own prosecutors, like we have in other jurisdictions. This was Alfred Tiayabwa, former Deputy AG, Charles, Mr. Tobu in the studio.
Yes,
so
but see,
if you say that the system suffices, like has been mentioned, even let's move away from the fact that maybe it wasn't done post the fact. Let's say President Kufuor, his committee, let's say it was when he was president, right? Was Yoko not there? Those were questions that were posed by Martin. Yoko was there. Some of these state bodies were there. Yet we still had that accountability committee going on. So what is the difference? What has changed?
I think that you are missing the point.
Tell me, clarify the point.
If the president, has set up this committee after his presidency, my argument would have been different, or I probably wouldn't have even made any argument.
No, I'm taking away that. That's why I said whether post or pre the fact.
Was the president? We need to understand that what the president engaged in, the current president, was any legality set up a committee to do this.
Mr. Darko, so what you are essentially saying is that you support this move. It's only that you feel it was done before he was president. That's your beef. That's what you're saying.
Not that I support it, but I wouldn't have any problem with it if he did it after he was sworn in.
In other words, you wouldn't have any problem.
Yes, I wouldn't. But before he was sworn in, he didn't have the power to do that. That is what we are saying.
Okay.
And listen, this so-called committee, they have arrogated to themselves powers they don't have.
Okay.
And we need to question every move they make. Look, in the end, they are saying they will prepare every document and go and give it to the some
700 petitions have been prepared so far.
So we'll get there. I mean, if you understand that.
And they say they are submitting that report
from a poison
to
tree,
the president.
You know what is referred? It's going to be a fruit from a poison tree. If
it's a poison chalice, eh?
Exactly. No, the fruit of a poison tree. When the foundation is wrong, whatever comes out of it will be wrong as well. For us, I am not against police or official institutions engaging in investigation. Why? We all want this country to succeed. If there are corrupt deals, investigate them by all means. Use the appropriate channels. Use the appropriate state institution. Is all we are asking. We are not asking for a lot. Do the right thing.
Mr. Darko.
We have a constitution. We have our acts of parliament.
Right.
Let's work within these regulations.
I'm actually listening very, attentively because I want to understand you and I want to understand the fuss about this oral thing. Now, given Ghana's past challenges with prosecuting those who perpetrators of economic crimes, right? We have the Shraj, the Yoko, and all that. And looking at how public interest has risen in terms of our fight against corruption. Benjamin, we were just giving some figures yesterday about how much money we lose to corruption in millions or billions even.
Yes.
What's the figure? I forgot it.
Yeah.
Many billions.
Many billions.
Yes.
Now, we have a president-elect who says, I've listened to the cries of the people. They want us to tackle corruption head on. So this is my way of gathering information. So the question I guess I'm asking you is, what would you have suggested to be done? Although we have all these institutions, and the president himself, the former president himself, said, until you're in trouble, you need to appreciate due process. And the reason, he says, we are unable to prosecute all these economic crimes is because we don't actually have evidence to hold them to it. What would you have suggested that to be done in terms of getting the evidence, which is the challenge to prosecuting these cases?
You see, and I think this ties in with the earlier question Ben asked, and his issue he raised with TS point, that we have these state institutions, the police prosecutors, who are unable to prosecute cases.
Which means you will have a bad docket or a not so good docket. I'm not saying all of them.
Yes.
Which also means that the case will amount to nothing in court.
We are patriots, right? Let's say we are patriots. I am not against, like I said, fight against corruption. So do we then abandon our institutions and set up parallel institutions to do the work of our state?
It is not an institution, though.
No. I'm just saying. I am just trying.
You realize that when the office of the OSP was set up, we said the same. We said the same thing about parallels and creating pseudo institutions doing the exact same work.
Well, good point. So I'm saying that what we need to do as a country is improve the work of these institutions. I mean, we may have to overhaul it in a very big way. We need to do that. So that, and look, the Attorney General's office, they have prosecutorial powers. They prosecute people, except that because of the number of cases, they're unable to do it alone. So they give some of the jobs to the police. Maybe we consider they should, because now we are producing a lot of lawyers. They should hire thousands of lawyers to do the prosecution, do the work well.
Okay.
We need to build these institutions. Because look, at the end of the day, this so-called aura will die and will be gone with its experience and everything it has. But if you use the resources to build a state institution, the experiences will stay and we can pass it on.
Well, we don't know whether any state money has been pumped into oral, like you said.
No.
But very quickly, because Martin is also waiting in the wings, he's been very patient. Mr. Kpebu, I'll be with you in just a little bit. Straight question. You are a first-time MP. You've not even been in Parliament for 2 weeks.
Yes.
It was interesting seeing you spearheading this drive. Some would have said, oh, we would have seen the minority leader doing this. Is the MPP afraid of oral? Just give me a straightforward answer.
No. I mean, but if the thing is wrong, it's wrong.
No. As for the wrong,
but you see,
you've already stated your point on that. I'm just asking you a straightforward question.
Let's go to
No.
Okay.
But the point is
would you like to challenge oral in court? Would you like to test?
Oh, at the appropriate time, I think we will do that. Because you see, if you don't do it, what it means is that we are giving authority to people who don't have the power to set up.
All right.
So-called committees.
Thank you for those answers. Mr. Kpebu, reactions to what you've heard Mr. Darko say so far?
And maybe Martin, he's my brother. He should give me 1 minute to respond to
30 seconds.
Yes, 30 seconds to respond to the issues you raised with Whistleblowers Act. He mentioned Section 3 of the Whistleblowers Act. Yesterday, I think on one of your platforms, he raised these issues. And I was surprised because he said, if the president really wants us to come under the Whistleblowers Act, you should have told us, right? And that would mean...
Ab initio, eh?
Yeah, you should have told us that you are setting up this committee based on the Whistleblowers Act. And look, the Whistleblowers Act gives you the people, like he's listed. They are all here. I have opened my law.
I think he's mentioned a plethora of them, so I don't want us, for the sake of time, to go back to that. I'm not going to go there. So, why a committee? Okay, all right.
Why a committee?
Martin, back to you.
People can send the information to them. So why this committee?
Right.
Why do we set up a committee when there are people who have already been designated by law to receive the information?
Martin, your responses.
Yeah, so you do a committee because it's clear that you need to show them who. But then this list was always there, and how many people even knew about it? So you see now we're giving the education. We're giving so much education, then people would come. So as for the committee, it's very important because you need a number of people. So you see that Dominic is an accountant, okay, and the auditor, right? I'm a lawyer. Honorable Okujeto, member of parliament, so he knows how the public system works and the parliament, the legislature, and so on and so forth, right? So the committee has, as Madam is Raymond Archer, investigative journalist, decades of experience, right? So when we see the complaints, it helps us. We can't just take anything and just present to the president. So with the committee, we're able to appreciate and help shape the complaints, etc., to be able to present to the president, the attorney general, and then to the various law enforcement agencies, depending on each one's jurisdiction. Yes, so as for this committee, it's very legit, it's constitutional, it's within our law.
So like you said, you're just gathering information that you eventually disseminate from the AG's office to others, and you've also mentioned validation. That's where your job ends.
Absolutely, that is phase 1 of the ORA.
What is phase 2?
I go through the NDC manifesto. They've made clear that
we are running the country
there will be
NDC
various
manifesto.
phases of the ORA. So from here, there is a way it is going to help the OSP in the actual execution of the mandate. So if you see, go through the OSP's half-year report, they've stated that yes, they are willing to work with ORA. It helps. It helps. Like, I'm happy we repeated the point to Lawyer Darko when you're asking. All these institutions existed, and yet the problem of corruption has been going up and up and up. Okay?
Martin,
so you see how the committee...
Before we go, because we don't have so much time, I do want to
future.
find out from you, we don't have so much time. Will your committee, will the work that your committee is doing end when we have a Minister of Justice and Attorney General? The work you and Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa and the rest, Raymond Archer, are doing, will your work end when we get an Attorney General?
Oh, yes, that's how it's been stated. But you see, when you say end, by all means, the work is going to end. But as to a specific date, we can't tell. If you literally, let me clarify. If you literally mean the day, right now, the Attorney General, let's clarify. The Attorney General is acting Attorney General, okay? In the case of J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General, the Supreme Court said when a government takes over, these persons we are even calling ministers designate. Look, simply what the Supreme Court says is that they are called acting ministers. So when I see just designate, I'm like, designate too big a word. They are acting ministers. You can add designate, but let's be very clear that they are acting ministers.
Right.
So, sweetie, it doesn't mean that because Dr. Dominic Ayine is an acting minister, then straight away we should stop and go and give him the work when it's not even done.
So when we do get a substantive minister, your work ends. I just wanted that clarity.
No, it doesn't end the way, and that's why I'm clarifying for you so that you appreciate that. Let's say if Dr. Ayine were confirmed, let's say
today,
next Monday, 20th. It doesn't mean automatically on the 20th our work ends. No, we will need some time to wrap up. And there's even provision for extension of time.
Okay, Mr.
So
Kpebu.
the work is not ending, to be very clear.
Right.
It is not ending when that the day Dr. Ayini takes office. No, that's not the day.
All right.
The day Dr. Ayini takes office, we'll now look at where we are and then see, is it possible to wrap up? When is it possible to wrap up? Then we'll send information and then we'll look at it.
Martin Kpebu, we have to go. I've seen a number of comments referencing the Transitions Act. That has nothing to do with forming, oral, right? Has nothing at all to do with it, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Martin Kpebu, thank you so much for your time. Mr. Darko, you have 20 seconds. Final words. Let's go.
Well, I mean, I thank you for the invitation. I think that it's good that we all do our bit to protect state and state assets. We have to fight corruption wherever they are, but we need to use the appropriate legal means, appropriate legal channels, use the state constitutionally mandated body to do that. We do all these things. We require the executive to operate within the law. And you know why? It's to protect you and I. It's for the protection of the citizen, not for anything.
But I'll repeat what I've said throughout today. So because if you've done no wrong and people start claiming, this is not, you wouldn't be bothered, right? Yeah. So there are no fears there, right?
It's true until somebody comes to you and puts you behind bars. When you know in your heart that you haven't done anything,
gentlemen, thank you so much.
Process is done.
Thank you. John Darko is Member of Parliament for Swami and a lawyer as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that what okay. And we also had Martin Kpebu, also a lawyer and a member of the oral team, joining the conversation.
Yes, I do.